Pixels and the Animation is wrapped on the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Now, TFG and Mike and TV's Mr. Neil head to Hyrule. That's right, listeners, from episode 16 through episode 20 of PETA, Pain in the Ass. We will be covering all 26 episodes of the Legend of Zelda cartoon. Excuse us, podcasters. You can catch Pixels and the Animation every Wednesday on iTunes and www.geekcastradio.com.
Hey! Excuse me, princess!
Hello and welcome everyone to Off the Cuff episode 41. I am your host as always, Michael Powers. I'm joined this week by Art Danner.
Hi.
Was there actual audio? Was there actual audio lag, or were you just being dumb?
I was reading Twitter. I'm sorry.
And you've heard Shanzi Brown.
Hello.
And the chuckle you heard, ladies and gentlemen, was the return of the Joe.
I'm back. The once and future Joe.
The prodigal son returns.
You would not. I'm in my basement. I am sitting in front of 3 computers, 2 hard drives, and a 15-year-old laptop. I finally wired something together that works. So
wait, they made laptops 15 years ago?
This is ancient. Yeah.
Was it made out of stone?
No, it was
2 tablets.
It's like to turn it on, you have to hit the little. It's a sun over a pyramid with a guy with a bird head next to it. You gotta hit that button to turn it on.
Well, I should clarify. Maybe 15-year-old desktops, yes, but this laptop is at least 7 to 10 years old. Yeah, I would say.
You're only off by 5 years. That's half a decade.
Well, yeah, you know.
My dad had a laptop in
No, he carried the table that had the computer on it. It's different.
No, I mean, yeah, this thing was huge compared to today's standards, but it wasn't that huge. I just remember
the battery pack was bigger than most laptops today.
That's true. And my cell phone lasts longer than that battery did. But yes, Joe is back. And a question that I've been waiting to ask Joe since he stopped showing up. I am going to purchase the game because I've gotten an answer from someone else already about my question, but I want to hear it from a friend about A Link Between Worlds.
Yes.
Now I don't want the question I'm asking. I don't really want you to call back to A Link to the Past so much. I just want to know, is A Link Between Worlds a good Zelda game for someone that's never played a Zelda game?
That is honestly a topic that I think we could blow an hour on.
But
because it's I know. It's very difficult to tell. It's hard to tell. I mean, I blasted through that game. It was definitely one of the best experiences of this year in gaming. But the question that I kept asking myself as soon as I accomplished something new is, could I give this game to my wife who's never played a Legend of Zelda, and would she be able to get it, or would she need to play Link to the Past? There are we've it's come up in our conversations before, like, where do you teach somebody to play video games? How do you start them off? There are things that occur in this game that maybe have counted on something that I picked up 20 years ago playing a game that I've since forgotten I had to learn and just did it. And where it's really difficult with Link Between Worlds is we all know dungeon, treasure does things in the dungeon and kills the boss, but they add like this weird fourth dimensional twist to a lot of different things. And mostly it's tied to how the weapons and tools are used in conjunction with latch onto the walls and become a flat two-dimensional thing, that it requires this kind of compound thinking that I don't think people who haven't played Legend of Zelda would find as easy to figure out. I think that here's my answer. I think a non-Legend of Zelda player would spend 3 times as long on the same puzzles because they have to work out both halves of the puzzle. And not only do they need to work out both halves, but they need to then use them in conjunction with each other to solve the puzzle. But that's one of the reasons that I liked it so much, was that it broke a lot of Legend of Zelda conventions, but you had to know what the rules are to break them. And so when I did, it was like, oh my goodness, it's like I can see the matrix now, I can see the code, and now I get it, and then very satisfying experience though.
But so you're saying the game does nothing to teach you this stuff as it goes? Like it expects you to have played A Link to the Past? Like you can't, like there's no tutorial phase, or they don't show you how to do anything in this game? It's just a Zelda game and you go?
Well, the Zelda never... Well, there's never really
been a tutorial. It's more so been off you go and you get a new weapon and we'll teach you how to use the new weapon.
Right.
I don't.
They never really teach you the basics, except for say the only game I remember them teaching you the basics was what's the one that I think isn't the overrated one, that one.
So I mean, the Zelda formula isn't unique to Zelda. I mean, it seems like there are other games that you could have played that would have helped you figure out this game. And we've talked before about how playing what is it, Dust and Elysian Tale? Being that it's a Metroidvania style game, there are certain things that you learned in the language of the game, like playing a Metroid game, where it's like, oh, this walkway goes a little bit farther this way. Oh, I'll follow it around. Or this elevator goes off screen, but the main screen doesn't go there. It's like, I'm going to follow this elevator down. Oh, look, I found a hidden area. Like the level language is all there. You're saying that, I mean, is that the kind of stuff that you're talking about with this game? It's just a language that, if you're not familiar with those types of games.
But it's more than that. It's how the tools work. And in one way, the new formula, the big thing that everybody's really excited about is that all the treasures you can buy immediately. If you have enough rupees, you can buy every treasure in the game from this dude.
Right?
You rent them, yeah. But there's also a point where you get to buy them about a third the way through the game, halfway through the game. You can actually buy them, and he doesn't snatch them back when you die. And because of that, you get the hook shot. But because it's not happening at a scripted moment in the game, you don't learn how to use it, really. You don't figure out that, when I latch onto wooden things, it'll pull me. When I hit coins with them, rupees with them, I get to suck the rupee back to me. So the events aren't as scripted as they would be if you found it in a dungeon and, okay, now I have the hook shot, but now I'm standing on this pedestal. Now I need to use it on those statues to latch me around. And then the hook shot does new things this time too. It doesn't only pull you toward things or stun enemies. Now you can use it to hook onto levers that are super far away and pull them toward you, which is something it didn't do before. And so would my wife have known to even select the hook shot from her inventory to do that? After 45 minutes of trying everything in her inventory. But you know what? That's what Zelda was about back in, 80s, 90s when that first one came out. They didn't tell you where the dungeon was. You took your candle and you burnt every frickin' bush on every friggin' screen so you could find the tunnels. And I think that's more about what Zelda was, and it returns to that.
But games were different back then. You could get away with a game being like that before.
It sounds like
I think it's less forgiving for games now.
It sounds like this game is not for. Sounds like what you're saying. It's not. Yeah, it's not for new gamers.
But it's so tough. I mean, this is. I need to see it. I need to put Jenny in front of it and watch. I need to see what it looks like.
But I don't know. Is there? I'm not, because we've talked about how your wife is really good at Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah.
But Sonic the Hedgehog shares next to no mechanics with any other game.
Yep.
So versus someone like us who we have there's lots of different game languages out there.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I think Jenny would be one side of the coin, but I'm interested to see what I get out of the game because
Me too.
I'm torn because like yeah, Jenny and my wife, they're like one way of looking at it. Like are they patient enough to suss this out? Do they have the language to know the language enough to be able to figure this stuff out, or is it not for them? Like, or do I? So I'm actually I'll probably end up picking it up this weekend because I want to play it before we do our Game of the Year awards. Because I'm still trying to figure out what my 5th game is. But
I don't even think I played 5 games this year.
I knew that was going to be his problem.
well, that's why you and Shanzi are only doing 5s. So
me and Mike are doing 10s.
So, well, you can do 10 if you want, Shanzi. Did you play 10 games?
5 of those spaces are going to be
Saints Row 4. Yeah.
As long as that's 6 through 10, because those won't count towards your voting.
What? That seems a bit game racist. You know what? You're racist, sir.
It's not game racist because
it is game racist.
We only count real games, not reskins.
Then Far Cry 3 can't be on there. Or Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon can't be on there.
Nope. Reskin.
It's on my top 10, so it's not like it counts for points.
That means I need to play that. I can download that somewhere.
Yes.
Everywhere, Joe. You can download that everywhere.
So, yeah.
And it's only like 3 hours long, maybe, and it's delicious.
So yeah, I'll pick it up this weekend so we can talk about it some more on the next show. I asked another person on Twitter yesterday that was gushing about the game, and I asked if it was good for first time out with Zelda, and they said absolutely. So we'll see. I mean, I'm familiar with games like Zelda, and I'm okay with like the whole trial and error aspect of it. And I'm not above asking for help. I mean, the other thing is, were you a Nintendo Power subscriber when you were playing like A Link to the Past?
Yes, Link to the Past, yes.
Do you think that helped you at all, like with that game, or did you actually play that game without a Nintendo Power?
I think I played that without a Nintendo Power. I don't remember seeing a strategy guide, and if they covered it in the magazine, it was only a 2-page, 3-page thing.
Oh, it was more than that. It was a thing for a while.
The thing I remember most is the manga cartoon that came out, which was amazing in the Nintendo Power, the Legend of Zelda one.
Mm-hmm. No, I remember that's where I've gotten most of my Zelda stuff from, was the previews and the help stuff that they did for Link to the Past. I remember a lot of that stuff in Nintendo Power. But no, I'll try and snag it this weekend so we can talk more about it next week. Have you been playing anything else?
A little bit of GTA here and there. Lots of Netflix, but that doesn't count. Lots of Netflix. Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
I gotta finish that series. Yeah, that's it.
All right, who wants to go next? Danner, you sleeping?
I'm not sleeping yet.
Just tweeting away?
Yes.
I see this. Jesus, man. Stop blowing my phone up.
I've played a poop ton of Assassin's Creed 4.
So good, right?
Without really doing anything. I think I'm maybe, since the last time we recorded, I've probably put 35 hours into the game. And I'm still only like 65% of the way through the game.
That's the same story I hear from everybody. It's like, hey, I'm going to go do the story mode now. And wait, thing's carrying a whole bunch of rum.
Yeah, the second you get out into the world, you'll be going like, oh, I'm just going. Oh, wait, there's a whaling event. Oh, shit, there's a convoy.
I literally got to the point where I couldn't upgrade my ship anymore without going further in the story. So I started doing story missions and then unlocking more of the map. And then I was like, well, I'm sailing along here, and there's an Animus piece over here. I'll just stop on this island real quick. And then I get off on the island. I go like, oh, there's a treasure chest in this next island over here. And ooh, I can kill a humpback whale over here. Ooh, I could kill a shark over here. Ooh, convoy over here. And it just devolves into, oh my god, I spent the 3 hours just going after man-o-wars and adding them to my fleet. What the hell happened?
All right, if I want to give this game a shot, is it a dumbed down version on PS3?
No.
It's
No.
graphically, yeah.
The only thing
That's
that's going to change between the things is graphics, and your load times are going to be slightly longer.
Actually, that's not necessarily true from what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah.
From what I've heard,
That's-
it's just basically a graphical difference.
Yeah. But it's a
See,
major graphical difference.
Yeah.
But even still, current gen still is pretty.
Well, if I haven't seen that much of it besides what I watched at your house and played art, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. It's
You're not
It'll be
losing.
$15 in like
Not
3 months
losing it.
anyway.
it is so much better than Assassin's 3. So much better.
Oh,
Even
it leaps
would
and
you
bounds.
say that even if I say I did not care for the ship parts of Assassin's 3?
Yes, because
You
I
will
didn't care.
love
I
the
didn't
ship
really
parts
care for the ship
of
parts.
this.
in
Yeah,
Assassin's 3.
even my wife didn't like the ship stuff in Assassin's 3, and she says she likes the ship stuff in Assassin's 4. It's
Okay.
not as bad.
It
And
was
I
a
think
pain in the neck to control.
Kenway is a way, way, way better main character than.
I've heard
Connor.
from some people that this is what they wanted after Assassin's Creed 2.
Yes,
So
to me, it washes all the bad taste out of my mouth from.
Your last
It-
customer.
I can just bounce. I can just bounce from Revelations. I could just bounce from Revelations straight into 4 and not even linger on the fact of 3.
Because I mean, the only thing you need to know about 3 for this game, and even if you even care about the real world stuff, is what happened in the real world in 3. It makes there's no connection to Connor really. I mean, besides the fact that he's related. But
Even
it
the
doesn't
stuff that
really-
happens in the real world in 4 is 20 times more interesting than anything
Oh, yeah,
that
it's
happened out of
definitely-
the Animus in 3.
just making it that own little metagame of you being of anyone who has played. You're a developer working at Abstergo, EA, doing all this stuff, and it's just really. I think it's really cool the way they did that.
Yeah.
Like, how have you tried like finding all like the QR code post-it notes and stuff?
Yes.
I'm addicted to that shit. Every
And
time I look on the
hacking-
mini map and I
hacking all
see
the
a
terminals that
computer
people-
or a note that I've done, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I have level 3 clearance now or whatever, so I got to go to all those rooms that were level 3 before. I got to do them.
Well, I don't have level 3 yet.
I don't either. I have level 2. I just was use 3 as an example.
Well,
I like to talk a big game, think I'm a big man.
I thought you were
So-
further than I was in there.
So Danner,
Yeah, it's me, smarter than anyone. Good job.
is this? I'm just asking. Is this going to be on your Game of the Year list?
No.
Not even in the
Wow.
top 10.
It'll be in my top 10.
Okay.
It won't be in my top 5.
See, I've just been trying to judge what I should try and like really.
You're trying to
play.
gauge of how excited I am about it? Is
No, like I think we mentioned this on the last podcast, or actually I mentioned it to you while we were playing Ghost one time. Weekend Confirmed just did their top 10 for 2013, and basically what I was doing is I was listening to what they were playing to see if there was anything that maybe I should check out before I finalize a list, which is how I ended up playing Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which is amazing. It's definitely in my top 5. But I was just wondering, because I was gonna play. It's on my list to start playing Assassin's Creed because everybody is talking about it, and we do own a copy of it here. Except for when I was getting ready to go and start playing it, Danner started talking about Being Human on Twitter, so I started watching that instead of playing video games, and I ended up burning
See,
through all of
It's
that.
your fault
Yes,
that he
Danner.
isn't keeping to his resolutions about video gaming.
No,
That's
we haven't made any game resolutions yet this
You
year.
still haven't completed the one from last year.
I didn't buy Assassin's Creed 4 though. Allie did. So
Loophole.
Yeah, that's a terrible, terrible loophole.
The only way that Assassin's 4 will jump into my top 5 is if I manage to actually finish the story mode.
And it doesn't crap all over itself.
And it doesn't crap all over itself. Because that could technically get it into my maybe 5th or 4th position.
If you're crying at the end of that, like I cried at the end of the
Revelations.
number 2 series, then it's gonna count.
Did you get the movie, Joe?
Yes, where he spoiler alert, plug your ears, where he dies on the bench in the square where his father and brothers were assassinated.
You told us about that already on the podcast.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I was just wondering if you'd
spoiling
seen
our
the
listeners.
movie. So,
What the
Yes.
what's it called?
Legacy, Assassin's Creed Lineage.
You mean the live action one or the
Yes.
CG one?
No, the live action one.
Oh, the CG one was the one where I cried. That was
Oh,
there was a girl assassin that kind of came up behind him. He was kind of training her, and he was an old man and not really doing anything. I can't remember what that was called, but that was where his story actually ends, and you got to see him at the end from birth to death.
Yeah, there's
Oh, that was so good.
I bought her the Assassin's Creed Lineage. It's a live
was-
action thing.
yeah, I like that.
That was about his dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
I like that.
all right. Anything else you've been playing, Danner?
I've been playing probably like for a half an hour before bed every single night. I've been slowly going through Rainbow Mode on the Vita, and it's just fun. It's just a pick it up, put it down RPG game. It's kind of a grid-based fighting system. The more levels you get, the more turns you get. Like every time you hit like level 5, you get 2 turns per turn, or
Okay.
2 moves per turn. Level 10, you get 3 moves per turn, and then level 15. And then you keep getting, like in the first 2 hours of the game, you're by yourself. Then you finally get a party member. The next 2 hours of the game, it's you and a party member, and then you pick up another guy, and then it just keeps building, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just like a slow build, and it doesn't really hold your hand. It kind of eases you into it, but it also kind of it has a sense of humor to itself and kind of pokes fun at like some of the regular RPG elements, and basically realizes that if you're playing this game, we know you like, RPG games, and we're not gonna dumb it down for you. So it doesn't take itself too seriously, which has been kind of nice. And it's just fun game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited that they're going to be doing there's a sequel that'll be coming out next year also for it. I think it's called Rainbow Star, I believe. So it's just a fun game. East Asia Soft did a really good job with it. It kind of has a lot of old school RPG elements to it. So it's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's cool.
I feel so disconnected, probably since like November. Oh,
Is it because you haven't been talking with us?
that has a lot to do with it, and I think just generally then I've been away from the video game systems, so I haven't been able to play them even if I wanted to. And I think it might be helpful for me to look at some top 10 of the year lists to make sure that I played everything that I wanted to.
Well, you can go to Danner's and play Gone Home.
Yes.
Yep.
And our brothers is, like you said, is coming to PlayStation Network this month. We're not doing the Game of the Years until like the end of this month or like early February. So
That's good. That'll give me
Just
some
be glad
time.
that we're not including incomplete games on the list, because that could make it a whole.
Not including complete. Good. That means you can't say anything. You can't use Walking Dead.
Can't use Walking Dead. Can't use Wolf Among Us. Can't
Yep.
use Kentucky Route Zero.
None of those games I've touched. I was telling somebody about Walking Dead. I'm still on episode 2 of the the first one, part one, whatever it is now,
episode-
season one, because I don't
episode
want to play
2
it
is
because if I
so
don't play it,
good.
nobody dies.
Because there's a lot of people that are going to die now.
I know.
That's just one of those games. I really wish I cared about that, and I just couldn't be bothered.
Episode 1 of season 2 is okay.
And that's the only that I mean, not that I value your opinion, but you're the only like dissenting opinion I've heard about it so far. And like by dissenting, I just mean that you're saying it's okay versus everyone else just like falling over themselves for it. So
are they just falling themselves over it because it's more Walking Dead, or because it's actually good?
I've heard a lot of people saying it's actually good. Like they like they like the changes that were made because the character that you play as is different. So
I think those people are pussies. Okay, let's get into it.
You're the only one that's played this. So
I know I'm the only one who's played it. So the elements of the other Walking Dead game are there. It does play differently because you're playing as the little girl now.
Clementine.
You're playing as Clementine.
Orange.
You are joined by other characters from the first game. In the very beginning of the first episode, and shit gets out of hand very, very quickly. And snowballs. And Clementine's beginning to get a very she seems really, really, really sweet and innocent in the first game. And as I played the game and I finished the game, I didn't make her sweet and innocent by the choices I made her have to go. I made her kill what's his name in the game at the end before he turned
Don't
into
tell me.
So I specifically played it in mind with the decisions I made in the first game and the fact that I've kind of pushed her into that she's aware of the world and pushed her very much into the in my eyes of how the game is progressing, that she's getting into that Carl role that Carl has in The Walking Dead, where maybe a kid, but this is a different world and kids have different roles now.
Right.
And then they have to grow up and get in line with the world. And I think it's interesting that in episode 1, and I think it's interesting. I'm interested to see how it progresses. There is a girl in episode 1 that you initially meet, but she has not developed or fleshed out. But you come to learn the fact that they keep her in the house, and she has absolutely no idea what's happening out in the world. She doesn't know there's a zombie outbreak. They're keeping her very sheltered, and her dad will not let anybody tell her what's going on. So there's this girl in the game that has no concept of what's going on in the outside world. And then you have Clementine, who's literally been through hell and back. And just, I'm very interested to see how the dynamics of those two play.
Are they around the same age? Is that what it is?
They're very close to the same age. So to me, I think that dynamic's interesting. Is something that's hinted at in episode 1 and then hinted at further in the preview for episode 2. So I'm really interested in the dynamic of that, because to me that sounds like something interesting to fun with, because that's an opportunity for me playing as Clementine to completely destroy her world and wreck that girl. And I'm looking forward to that because I'm a sadistic son of a bitch.
You can know.
But as far as like, I will say that for me and for Mike as well, we jumped on the Walking Dead bandwagon late because all the episodes were out when we bought it.
Yes, which
I
appreciate
because it was going to be on sale.
Yeah,
it wasn't on sale though.
It was when I bought it.
It was $20 when I bought it. So
I think we bought it because everybody was talking about it, and we wanted to play it before the game of the year last year.
Yes, exactly.
So for us, I mean, we could play a chapter after chapter, which I didn't. I literally took the opportunity to do, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play an episode and see that as a stopping point, and then I'll sit down and play the next episode and then get through that and then go back to the next one a couple of days later. But it constantly was fresh in my mind. I think the last 2 episodes I played back to back though in one sitting. But
See, I think
for me, getting the first episode of season 2 just doesn't have the pacing that I felt that the first episode of season 1 did, and I think a lot of it was season 1 episode 1 felt longer to me because I was getting used to the controls, and I think with season 1 episode 2 I already know the controls, so it didn't seem like I seemed like I picked it up a lot faster, and it seems like I got through it way quicker. It just seemed shorter, and it doesn't feel like they covered nearly as much ground as they did in the first episode. And I think a lot of it has to do is a portion of the characters were already established, so they didn't have to establish some of the characters. So it just kind of pick up and went, and it just didn't feel as immersive as the beginning of season 1 to me.
See, episode 1 in the first season, I didn't really care for, and I think I ended up playing through it. I played the demo was the first episode.
Yeah,
I played that.
The demo was just the first. Was the house when you met Clementine. That was really the demo.
Okay, well, there's that. And then I did it. Then I played it on the Vita. I played it myself. And I think I did it with you.
Me and you played the episode 1 together,
I think that was Joe. And then you and I started with episode 2.
Well, maybe that's what it was.
But
episode
I don't even remember.
Episode 2 is amazing.
See, that's
good.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like, for me,
and that's why I'm
The
not
Walking
like,
Dead didn't like it. The first season did not get its hooks into me until, I was sitting there on the couch with you and I was just like, oh, I know where this is going. Like, and it was just genuinely creepy. Like I appreciated the first episode for what it was, but for me there was too much like winking to like the comic with like the farm and Glenn and some other things. And yes, it was a little slow to get started because you're trying to get used to the controls and everything like that. But I felt like it moved from place to place to place really quick. I think you're in like 3 different locations in the entire episode. Whereas the other ones you're kind of in one location for the most part for the duration of an episode. And I, having just replayed season 1 again on the Vita, I didn't care. I still didn't care for the first episode. So I'm wondering if, the second season suffers from the same problem that season 1 did, where the first episode's just not there. It's all like character introductions and introducing new people to the gameplay and introducing new characters and stuff and settings, and then they're going to hit the ground running in like the second episode, which is generally what happens with like sequels to anything, or like the second episode of something is you've wasted the first episode introducing people to everything, because like it or not, there are people that are going to play season 2 without playing season 1, and people are morons.
I think for me, like, I think the same issue is the fact that I realized episode 1 in the first game was kind of meh, and much like in the second game, I find the first episode to be it was okay, but I know there's something better coming, because I think it's just I like you said, the first chapter in the first one was kind of so, and the second chapter is where it's just holy crap.
When you realize how far they're
what I'm
go.
expecting. But I think the problem is that I bought Wolf Among Us the week before, and I was so impressed with how well that first episode flowed and how well that storytelling was and how cool everything that was going on in there was, that, I mean, in Wolf Among Us, instead of life and death decisions, in Wolf Among Us, it's, are you gonna be a super dick or a regular dick?
But do you think that's because of what The Wolf Among Us is, because they're not the same thing.
I know they're not the same thing,
Yeah.
and I think that's where it's Walking Dead is life and death decisions, who lives, who dies type of a thing. Where Wolf Among Us is,
How people are going to see
am
you.
I going to be a nice guy, or am I going to rip this dude's arm out of his socket and then beat the fuck out of him with it? Oh god, the bar sequence in that game is so awesome.
I recently downloaded the episode of Wolf Among Us because the first episode was free.
I bought the season pass and I'm very pleased.
Well, there's something to do after I'm done recording tonight.
Yeah. Wolf Among Us is great. I recommend it. And if it's free, definitely download the first episode. And if you aren't hooked afterwards, something seriously wrong with you. Because it is just, the Fables world is just a very rich, interesting take. It's the best way I could describe Fables to you is if you watch Once Upon a Time and you just don't feel like they're fully going for it, which I usually feel with Once Upon a Time. Fables does that.
You said
Fables is I said it last time when
and then I mentioned Grimm because I think Grimm is more along the lines of what Fables is than
Fables is like the HBO version of Once Upon a Time.
And I've been told I need to read the second trade paperback. I read the first trade of it and
the
didn't
second
care for
trade
it at all.
paperback is actually on sale for Kindle for $3.99 this week.
I don't have I'm a Nook guy. Sucks.
Nooks suck.
like
Speaking
my
as an
Nook.
owner of a Nook, Nook sucks. I have a Kindle and I have a Nook. And
and an iPad. So
and an iPad.
Danner knows.
And he only has the one set of eyes.
Yeah.
I only have eyes for you.
That wasn't weird. My Wild Wild West was better than that.
So yeah, I may be one of the few people that kind of pan the first episode of season 2 of Walking Dead, but that's because I expect more and I know more is coming down the pipeline, and it's one of those I prefer to judge the game on a whole instead of per episode.
Right.
Now, does it also maybe that you look down on it a little bit more because of how good you found Wolf Among Us was? It's like, wait, these are the same people? Like,
and I think
could have been better.
That could definitely be it.
But that's what I was getting at.
I made that comment though when I talked about Fables though.
But that's what I was getting at was, it's you're dealing with two different types of material. Like just because it's the same studio and one comes off as awesome and the other one comes off as meh.
But I know, but I mean, like, it's like they did such a good job turning that into a thing.
Episode 1 of Fables, the way I felt after playing episode 1 of Fables was exactly the same way I felt after playing episode 2 of Walking Dead.
Well.
So yes, the subject matter was different, and yes, the stakes were different, but ultimately I'm going with the emotional response that it evoked from me. And the episode 2 of Walking Dead evoked the same emotional response as the first episode of Wolf Among Us did to me.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about these as they come along, because I have the season pass for the Walking Dead season 2 because they made an error and they actually made it up. They made an error and they made it up to consumers by giving away the season pass for $15 instead of the normal $20. So
just for Sony people.
Yep. So I grabbed it for $15, so I wouldn't have to pay $20 for it later. But I am waiting for the complete thing to hit. So before I actually have an opinion on it, I was just trying to play devil's advocate here, as I like to do with Danner.
It's going better and better every time we play that.
It is. Because now you're playing the games and you're paying attention to this stuff.
I'm not being lazy about it.
Which doesn't make it as much fun for me.
Good. That was my main goal.
Anyways,
so slack off a little bit, Danner. Jesus.
So
I'm slacking off on the fact that I haven't beat AC4 yet.
If you don't have anything else you want to share, we can go ahead and give Shanzi a turn.
Yay!
The only other thing I did was I picked up World of Goo for my Mac
I love
Love
that
that
game.
game.
because
Such
it was
a good game.
it was 99 cents.
I beat it in a day.
So I have yet to play it yet. but
Really?
Yep.
I
All
bought
the levels?
soundtrack.
Every level I beat it in a
Jesus.
day.
Well, I did also download Dota 2 and I did the first tutorial video.
Wait,
And
wait,
after-
does that stand for something?
Dota.
Yeah,
No, it used to, and it doesn't anymore.
I've heard that name so many times and I have no idea what it means. I every time I hear it, like every other time I hear it, I go and look it up. It's like Defense of the Ancients. Yeah, Defense of
Yeah.
the Ancients.
Well, yeah.
It
So
was
the
a
reason-
mod. It was originally a mod for Warcraft.
Uh-huh.
And somehow Valve ended up picking it up. And
Well, no, it was they bought it from the creators, didn't they? Or they
No,
they wrapped
no,
up the,
they
who
brought.
made it
I
into the
think
fold.
they brought the creators into Valve and then started supporting them and helping them.
And then
that's been-
it used to be called Defense of the Ancients, and everybody would just call it Dota. It's like everybody calls Call of Duty COD.
yeah.
And then they eventually just were like, well, fuck, we'll just call it Dota.
But Dota is also a genre. Like now, that's how it's also
Yes,
been known
now
as
there's
that.
Dota-like games.
Yeah, there's
like,
there's
if-
there's Metroidvania. Now there's Dota. So it's a style of gameplay which I'm not quite sure.
Which in
what it
its
is.
fact is a mod of yet another game.
Yep. So
Yeah, I've gotten, like I said, I've gotten through the first tutorial, and there's like 12 tutorials you have to get through before you can even play the game.
Ooh, forced tutorials?
4.
No,
Or,
forced.
there's 12 like forced tutorials.
Forced. Like they make
Yeah.
you do them. Oh, that sucks.
Well, it's super complicated. I don't think I'd be
Yeah,
able
but
to play the game without
even
it
if
being so
I mean, I always play tutorials. Always do, no matter what. But I still think it should be an option. If I want to go out there and learn by messing up, that should be my right.
all right.
Meh.
Meh.
Shanzi, what do you got for us before we move on to news and more
Yes.
interesting things?
Well, okay, so I've been playing. Screw you. I've been playing a little bit of Ghosts on current gen, which is, I mean, it's okay. It's just another Call of Duty game.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I will say the idea of what do they call them? Orders or whatever. Where it's like you'll kill a guy and you'll see he'll drop like it looks like a floating briefcase or whatever, and you'll pick it up and be like, oh, get 3 kills with a secondary weapon.
It's all fun until you get the one where they tell you have to teabag a guy.
Is there one? Oh, now I
Yes.
gotta look for that one.
Yeah,
That
it's
is-
humiliated down to enemy or something like that. You basically have to teabag them.
And it's
That's an
fantastic.
achievement.
No.
No. It
Oh.
gives you. It just gives you bonus XP, isn't it? Or does it give
Yes.
you?
A
It gives
care
you
package.
a care package or some kind of thing, which is actually really cool. Although I will admit, the first 2 care packages I got in that game that I earned for myself, I was very upset because people killed me and then were stolen them, and they were both kind of gunships. I was like, I'll never get another gunship in that goddamn game, and they got stolen from me. It was gypped. Anyways, so I'm playing that. It's been really fun. I beat the single player, which Mike cares nothing about, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, they actually come with a single player game attached to the multiplayer game, Mike. And what you do is you actually go through with someone with a story and kill people.
Huh.
Crazy. What is it called? Extinction, the replacement for zombies. Extinction, right? That's actually
Yes.
quite entertaining.
Yeah, that is fun.
And I like the fact of it being able to somewhat level up your guy and change the way his perks almost to be able to play that, which is really cool. I like that a lot, actually. Is there still just the one map for it?
Yeah, but I think it changes the farther you get, right?
Yeah. It's like progressive. You get there, then you go there, then you go there, but there's still just the one place, right?
I think so. I've only played it I've played it the once, and actually that's one of the things I've actually been thinking about lately is because I've really gotten into the whole streaming thing.
Yeah,
and
that would be a fun. Get 4 people on that. That's a good one. You can.
That's what I was thinking because I can't like I'm not it wouldn't be any fun to watch me play it wouldn't be any fun to watch me play Call of Duty because you get to see what it
Oh,
looks-
he's in a bush, everyone. He's laying down in a bush.
Oh, let me ask you
Still
this.
laying.
I don't know. Did I ask you this, Danner? Because the new thing is with the sniper rifles or any kind of with the sniper rifles in particular, when you pull up the scope, the surrounding doesn't go black on the next gen stuff. Does it do that on the current gen?
I haven't.
Does it get like smudged out?
I don't snipe, so.
Danner, how
Come
about
on.
you?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
Okay.
I could barely play a round because of how terrible.
I won't make you feel like as much of a jerk as I usually do again. So
It's okay. I mean, it's God, PS3 just Call of Duty so terrible.
that's I think honestly, Tomb Raider is going to be my first foray into that. I wish I would have pulled the trigger and done it more. Like I would have done like the upgrade path for certain games so I could see it. But Tomb Raider will be my first experience with current gen versus next gen titles. So
Yeah. So I've been playing that, and I know I've been talking about it for weeks, and I finally got XCOM Enemy Within, which is the expanded game of XCOM Enemy Unknown. None of you people really care about it. And it's got the same kind of, I think I said this before when I was talking about the vanilla game, is that it's got the fun of you can, name your squad guys whatever you want. So I have a Mike Powers, I have a Joe Reed, I have an Art Danner. Art Danner, you died. Your guy got shot in the face. He's dead. It was hysterical.
Oh.
I tried to save him. I honestly did. But and then in the next game, Joe, you failed at throwing a grenade. It bounced off of a wall into your own face.
That's exactly. I think I did that exact thing when I played like 5 minutes of XCOM once. I threw the grenade and it bounced at my feet. Like, okay, I'm done with this.
It was funny
was me playing your game.
because my Xbox froze, so I had to go back. So you're still alive, but Art, you're still dead. Sorry.
If I'm not dead in FTL, now I'm dead in XCOM.
It's not my fault. Your guy sucks no matter what game it is.
Get sucked out the air supply.
But for anyone who's played the game, it's got a lot of new stuff. You get to. There's a third faction now. There's the XCOM soldiers, which is you. There's the alien guys, which obviously is the aliens, and these guys called Exalt. They're another human faction. You're not quite sure what's going on with them. Whenever you would get to do these special missions where you send one of your guys undercover to do it, and to infiltrate one of their cells. And after so many, in-game days go by, you get to do a special mission where you have to go rescue them. And fighting them is you have to fight them completely different than you fight aliens because they have all the same kind of stuff you do. So, like, you may face a heavy trooper, and heavy troopers have rockets. None of the aliens have rockets. So you might be facing against a guy and like he has a machine gun. You're like, fine, whatever, I'll hide behind this building. And he shoots a rocket and blows the goddamn building up. So you get to play a little different. Upgrade your guys a little different. You can also, right now, my guy that I labeled me because he's awesome. I had him genetic.
Wow.
Okay, wait.
The guy
Okay,
that's labeled me, because he's awesome.
Well, it's not my fault. He just happened to be awesome. I'm not saying it's because his name was me, but I mean, that's how it is. Okay. So, like, the two new things that they got is you have this new resource called Meld, and you can use it one of two ways. You can use either genetic modifications for your guys, like I can give them a bone marrow implants that they can heal themselves during turns, self-healing, without having to use a med pack or anything, or stuff that turns their skin into like active camouflage kind of thing, stuff like that. Or you can do mechanical upgrades. So I put my guy into it. I'm like, sweet, he's going to be awesome. And it comes out in the thing, it's cut off his legs and his arms and replaced him with like these really shitty looking robotic ones. But he then gets to go inside this giant power suit that makes him look like Ed 209.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's funny because if you don't have a helmet on, you have this big mechanical body and a little bitty human head in the middle of it. So it looks kind of goofy. So it's like it forces you to wear a helmet for your guy. But it's really fun because, like I said, anyone who's played the game, it changes a lot, actually, more than I thought it was gonna, the way you have to play the game. I'm sinking money into things I never sunk money in before just because the way all this new shit's falling down. So it's actually really fun. Anybody who's into those strategy type games, which is none of you savages. Savages. Dirty savages.
I'm gonna buy a tower defense game for my 3DS soon. Does that count?
What tower? Which one?
Oh, there's some one you can. It's like $5 on their store, but I have enough coins from registering my games to get it for free, and I'm gonna do that before the weekend. I can't remember what it's called. Starship something. It's kind of like Galaga meets a tower defense thing. You've got the big capital ship, and the little guys are kind of buzzing around you, and you have to build up your little defense platforms. Looks okay, but it's free. I'll give it a shot. I'll never have enough coins to buy anything cool.
All right.
But yeah, I mean anyone who liked that last not the shitty XCOM first person shooter, that game doesn't exist. The XCOM Enemy Unknown, you'll love this game, and it's more of the same and more.
All right. Anything else?
Still playing GTA Online. Did any of you guys that play during Christmas time?
No.
They covered the entire map in snow.
Oh, and I missed that.
And it wasn't just a skin; it affected it. If your car's on roads, they were snowy roads. You'd slip and slide all over the place.
I will say.
So you'd be go.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say. So you'd be going, and it makes a cop chase is instantly more fun because you'll be going 100 miles an hour, and he touches you, and you just start spinning in place while going still forward, like completely out of control, and not a damn thing you can do about it. Also, it added these were all timed things, so they're all done with now. But they also, in everyone's inventory, they gave Santa masks and snowman mat, just stuffed him, make it seasonally. But so for a while, a bunch of assholes that look like Santa would attack you because everyone changed into those things.
Nice.
But it was fun. So I'm seeing how they did that, and it wasn't a download. It was just in game. It wasn't even an update. It just did it.
Well, that game does take 10 minutes to load. So
yes. So I mean, so it's like a hot fix or whatever. Yeah. But I'm saying is that if they're doing that for that, I'm excited to see what else they'll do.
Halloween next year will be interesting.
Maybe if we get a hurricane. I will say this.
Yeah.
The one thing I did find interesting, because I did dive a little bit into the story for GTA. I decided that it might be fun to stream some of that. Oh my god, I played it a little bit. The single player chugs compared to the online game. Frame rate wise, it's atrocious. I think the reason being is that the world is less populated when you're playing online than it is when you're actually playing the single player game.
Less cars, less pedestrians.
Less going on overall in the world, which to me is just a clear sign that they really were pushing the limits of what these systems could do, because obviously when there's far less on screen, it works a lot better.
Danner, Jesus with the twittering jeepus.
So, all right. Anything else, Shanzi?
Not especially. I'm trying to think. Not really. More Diablos. Nothing really new besides those couple things. Oh, I did want to say one thing I forgot to say while Danner was talking. Have you hunted a white whale yet in Assassin's Creed?
Oh God, there's white whales.
Oh, there are these things called community events. It only happens if you have it linked up to Uplay, and friends of yours. What happens is it's kind of like a viral thing. If the white whale pops up in one of my friends' games, it then gets shared to all of his friends' games. Ooh. So I see it, and it's like a normal whale, huge white, and takes, oh my god, so many harpoons. I mean, I have elite harpoons, and I think I had to shank it 25 times.
I was gonna say I just killed a white jaguar, but
those things are annoying too. Also, they do special convoys that have double the gold, or the reels, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, they mentioned link up with friends, but
yes, if you look on your map, it'll be the normal symbol for something, but it'll be a blue instead of a white.
Okay.
And that means it's a Uplay thing. Also, sometimes random chests will pop up like in towns.
Wait,
And you go to it.
are we talking about treasure chests or boobs?
Treasure chest, Danner. Focus. See, if you weren't Twitter pating over there, you'd be able to keep up with the conversation.
Jesus,
Say Twitter baiting?
Yes, I did.
I'm paying plenty of attention, or at least enough that your voice.
Oh, really? Listeners, review back to the intro when it took him 30 seconds to introduce himself.
Hey, I'm multitasking now. The caffeine's kicking in.
Oh, good. 9 o'clock at night. Good time for caffeine to kick in. Yeah, so like sometimes you'll get sometimes it'll just be cash. Sometimes it'll be like those collectibles for your Piratey Fortress place. But I did get like a different kind of sail or something. So I mean, the sails don't really change how your ship moves or anything, but it does change what your ship looks like. I think I got diamond sails. It just gave them to me. So I mean, there is benefits to being connected to Uplay. Also, you can have friends help with your ships during the fleet stuff. They can heal your ships and or speed them up. So I mean, it's worth it.
I've never figured what the reason was for signing up to Uplay. It just seemed like another password to remember and forget on the old ones. This sounds like it's actually doing things for you.
Oh, you used to get free in-game stuff all the time with it. Upgrades to your pouches and stuff for free. New weapons.
Did it happen automatically, or did I need to log in somewhere?
You'd have to go into Uplay and do it.
Yes. See, I nothing ever told me I should go log into Uplay besides, hey, Uplay, it's this totally new thing that we can collect your data from and figure out your play habits. So I no. I don't trust people like that, but I should. It sounds like.
Wow.
It's just kind of the way games are going.
Yeah, like in the Rockstar Social Club, I don't have time for that. I don't have any clue what that is, and I'm sure I'm missing out huge features of the game.
Possibly.
Wait, can you even be in a crew without Social Club?
Yeah, I mean, I did something to make that happen, but
he's in the off-the-cuff crew.
Yeah, I couldn't figure the rest of that out. If there's more, which there probably is.
All right.
Those are just the two people in that crew. Somebody crew. You're like a weird buddy cop movie.
I've got 3 news things to cover quickly if you guys want to do that, and then we can wrap this up.
Oh boy, news. That'll keep me awake.
Yeah. Let's see. First things up, yesterday while I was at work, came over. I found out about the story from Polygon.com. The developers behind Left 4 Dead, Turtle Rock Studios, they have a new game coming out this fall. It's called Evolve. It is a co-op shooter along the same lines as Left 4 Dead, except for it's a hybrid co-op / multiplayer, which you and 4 friends go after a monster who is actually played by
your 5th friend.
By your 5th friend, and he gets bigger and stronger every round. Whether or not it's he has to survive, or at the end of the round he just respawns as something bigger and badder, remains to be seen. But it sounds like it sounds like the what is the mode in Left 4 Dead where you play as the infected?
Was there a mode? But those versus you played against humans while you were.
Humans versus the infected.
Okay, I thought there might have been an actual name for it.
It's just versus.
Okay, sorry.
It's called Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, it's called Left 4 Dead, you dick.
So,
I missed that game.
Me too.
Does not hold up well though.
Yeah. I don't know. I could probably still play the first one if I had Xbox Live. Oh shit!
Probably still have play the first one also if I hadn't given the Xbox 360 away to the children.
Anyways, this
just kids take it back.
This very quickly. You mentioned Turtle Rock co-op shooter. This very quickly became just take my money. So, Interesting note, this was supposed to be a 2K game or a THQ game. And they tried to Turtle Rock tried to buy it because they were developing it for THQ. Excuse me, they tried to buy it back from them. They bid like $250,000 for it. But 2K came into the auction and paid $10.8 million for it. Luckily, Turtle Rock was able to keep working on it. So it's not like 2K just took it from them and said, "Aha, it's ours, and you can't have it anymore."
2K bought the game and then
stopped
said,
development. Like,
2K bought the game and then said, "Hey, Turtle Rock, come and finish this for us." So
pay you.
We'll pay you.
How about $10.8 million?
And it sounds awesome. It sounds really, really awesome.
So
when you told me about that, and I went online and started looking at stuff, and I was like,
yes, I'm very hopeful for that game.
Well, what's really interesting is this kind of dovetails into the next news story I have, is that the Evolve stuff kind of started hitting the internet at the same time as the Alien Isolation news started to hit the internet. So I was kind of like, is it at first I was unaware of the Isolation subname, so I wasn't sure if like Evolve was the subtitle for the Alien game, or
if it was Alien Evolve.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, what are people talking about? Then I realized it was two different games. One has me excited, and the other one has me going, do people not remember Alien Colonial Marines?
Yeah, because Alien Isolation, the trailer is okay, freaking gorgeous. The light effects in the game are insane, but then in my back of my mind, I was like,
the videos for Colonial Marines were good too, though.
Yeah, the videos for Colonial Marines were good too. Alien Isolation, trailer-wise, looks amazing. I'm not going to buy it when it comes out because of Marines, though. Because I am super, super hesitant. Just because it looks good doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Just because it looks good. I mean, unfortunately, because of Colonial Marines and games like...
Colonial, not Colonel.
No, Jesus. I'm pretty sure it was Colonial.
You're saying Colonel.
Colonel? It's a bunch of colonels. It's just a bunch of colonels in the Marines. It's a whole group of colonels. And then when you pop them, they turn into popcorn.
Uh-huh. Anyways...
Well, it reminds me of the Dead Island syndrome. The putting out a trailer that's super, super awesome and then getting a subpar result.
I agree with that. What really gets me about the whole thing is that trailer really, really does look like the teaser videos that 2K put out for, not 2K.
Yeah.
That 2K put out
Gearbox
for,
put out.
Well, Gearbox put out for Colonial Marines. So it's like, I'm just like, oh, people, like that was my first reaction to it was, do people not remember the last time an Aliens game looked this good? Has it? And then I'm just kind of like, has anyone played it?
And then I was laughing because I was like, hey, look, no HUD, just like they originally teased in the other Aliens game.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they teased when they released the Game Informer article, and we're going all gaga about, hey, look at this Aliens game that we're making. There's going to be no HUD, blah, 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 blah. And then by the time the game came out, it was absolutely nothing like what they said it was going to be. So my question is how far into development is this game? When are we going to see it? Is this even this year, or is this going to be in development hell for the next 2 to 3 years?
Development hell for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
And it'll come out, nobody will play it.
Actually,
and it'll be in a bin.
Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's due tonight. It's due this fall.
Yeah,
that's what you say tonight. I was like, wow, that's a pretty speed development.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
It's a wait and see for me. I mean, it's if it's coming out in the fall, I'm sure it's coming out when nothing else is coming out at all. So I'll probably just have to buy it because there's no other games coming out in the fall.
Oh, darn. You'll just have to buy it.
Yeah.
So, the one last thing that I have that I think is kind of a big-ish deal, because it was one of those... Oh, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
I'm joking.
They were... it was announced last February that this was coming, and there were a lot of people that thought maybe this wouldn't happen. Could they actually pull it off? Well, a year after it was announced, and actually right on time with when they said it would be available, Sony has announced PlayStation Now, which is basically they relabeled their Gaikai game streaming service as PlayStation Now. There's a rental model and there's a subscription model, but the pricing and information about that stuff is not yet available.
$1 million.
There's a beta that's, I don't know if it's open or closed beta, starting at the end of this month or in February, and the service is actually supposed to go live sometime this summer, which of course the summer ends in like September, so we've got like a long way to go. It's gonna launch with PS3 games to start, and then they're going to add PS2 and I said Xbox, PS2 and PlayStation 1 games.
They're like, wow, how much do they pay for those rights? Jesus.
At this point in time, my only thing that I want to say about this that will make me happy, which isn't going to happen, I want to say that right now.
Yeah, Danner's never going to.
Anything that you've bought digitally from Sony, I think should be available for you to have through this service without a subscription fee.
That is what everybody is saying.
And that is what is never going to happen.
So,
because if I can access any of the stuff I've downloaded digitally or had the rights to digitally through PlayStation Plus on my Vita, I will be super excited.
This is exactly why I don't trust any kind of digital download anything. I mean, because, you know, there'll be games out there that they'll expect me to pay for again, even though I've already downloaded them. And until they work this stuff out, until they assure me that I'll be able to play that game that I bought, if I wanted to, 25 years later on whatever new system they have, even then, it scares me. There's going to be a whole generation of people who say, "Ooh, digital was cool," who are going to get screwed out of playing their games, and then that's when they'll fix the problem. That's
Said
when they'll
nobody
make me
ever
happy.
who owns Steam.
25 years from now. You know what the big game you're going to be playing 25 years from now? PlayStation plug. There's going to be a USB plug in the back of your head. You're going to jack the fuck in with the Oculus Rift on your face.
And Steam, I'm if somebody's going to do it right, it's going to be Steam. But, you know, I don't know. I can't complain about my crappy computers just because I don't have money enough to go buy a nice $700 gaming PC. But
Says the guy who's running Linux on his.
I know. I'm so bent over right now.
Like, last thing I knew that ran Linux was a PlayStation 3 before they got fixed.
I bought it from a weird place.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I want to know more about the pricing model and stuff like that. And what's kind of crazy about it is they said even PlayStation 4 games are going to come to this service eventually too. They've said that it will stream to tablets, the Vita, Sony Bravia TVs. So eventually, at some point in time, you'll be able to, as long as you invest in a Sony TV, you'll actually be able to play console, PlayStation games without having to actually buy a console, which I think is really interesting. I mean, some of the minimum system requirements for this kind of thing, Sony has said like 5 megabits per second, but people that have used like OnLive and Gaikai before it was purchased by Sony have said that you need like
high latency.
For it to be really good, you need it to be north of 30, and it needs to be low latency.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
High latency is what you're trying to avoid.
Yes, lots of time between I hit the button and he jumps. Yes.
And there were some people have said that they've noted that they had it at CES. People were able to play it. There's one website that I've seen that actually came forward and actually said what they were actually playing. Some people are just saying, yeah, it's awesome, it works. And at least one website actually said, yeah, it's great, but in our test environment, which is a set of servers right here next to a TV that are, basically glorified PS3s, yes, they are streaming, the game, but it's in a closed environment. So it's kind of like one of those, you have to wait and see how it's actually going to play out before you can get excited for it. And they did say that you could see some artifacting going on and that there was some controller lag, although they said that they were playing God of War, which God of War is you need not to have controller lag with God of War. They did say
a hack and slash game.
they
That's not a good game to have latency in.
they said they found it perfectly playable, but I can only imagine a game like that would be very frustrating because you wouldn't know if it was your timing or your internet connection.
Oh boy.
So, does anyone else have anything they want to throw in here that they may have heard about in the last since December something?
The 17 Steam machines that there are now.
I don't want to get started.
I thought there was 18.
There's a lot.
Ranging from like what, $400 to $1,800.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say. Okay. I'll just say this: the Steam machines are to Android as Apple is to Microsoft and Sony consoles.
Yeah, it's like you can get. Okay, think of it like an Android tablet versus an iPad. You can get an iPad, or you can get one of 32 Android tablets, all slightly different than the other one.
And not everything is going to work on it because
and they might, something might work on this one, not on that one. This one's working Jelly Bean, this one's running some kind of ice cream sandwich. This one's running butterscotch, whatever the hell. Kit Kat. Some weird thing, and it's weird.
Oh my god, I saw a photograph. Those are different systems. I thought those were
every company's making their own.
No,
Alienware has a Steam machine. Whatever company makes their own.
Wait, don't I have Steam machines? They're called computers.
Yes, that's what you're buying. Basically, okay. Here's the thing: Steam machines are basically built to run the Steam OS, and basically all it's going to do is turn that box into another console, which is another ecosystem. Okay. Which is going to have to be it's a Roku for games. No, okay, whoa, it's way more than that.
It's what for games? I missed
a Roku box for games.
I don't even know what that is.
I see. Oh my god, like you don't know what a Roku. Oh,
but anyway, it's more like basically it's Steam, it's Valve making a console. Only they don't want to make it themselves. They're taking the Google approach that Google did with Android. They're going to make the software like that. The operating system.
There's an actual Valve one too.
No, there isn't. Not yet.
Oh, there isn't.
It's going to be. Well, here's the thing. There are official Google phones, but they're not made by Google. They just
they say Google on them.
Well, they're Nexus devices. Anything that has Nexus in the title is generally. I'm 98% sure that anything that says Nexus in the title is an actual official Google phone, which means they are not skinned in any way, shape, or form. That is the operating system as Google intends it.
I had a friend with one of those that I got to fiddle with, and it is ridiculously better than any kind of go to Verizon, buy an Android phone.
Oh yeah, they are.
This coming from the guy who doesn't have a smartphone.
I don't have a smartphone because I would abuse it.
It's
not that I don't want one.
I will say
you have a penis and you abuse that. Get a smartphone.
I love Apple, but Android, the actual pure Android experience is really nice. It's just it's too much like Apple, but and doesn't have the polish that iOS does that it drives me crazy. Anyways, basically what's going to happen is Valve is making the Steam OS, and these people are making the hardware to run those. And it sounds like the first official Nexus SteamOS device is going to be made by Alienware, and it's going to be priced competitively with the Xbox One and the PS4. The only problem is that SteamOS runs on it is a Linux distro, and games have to be custom made for Linux, ported over to it, much the same way that they needed to be ported to consoles and everything like that. And it's not as simple. There's a weird API for computers. It's called DirectX. It's a graphical API, and that's what a lot of games use to run on Windows. And that's why you can't it's not like a straight up port, because DirectX is not, while it has been hacked into Linux, it's not like you can't legally put it in Linux without paying royalties to Microsoft. So basically, they made a new console that they have to look for support for, and it's Linux, which means it can be hacked, which means things can be pirated. It's not. It's kind of they're going to end up being in the same boat that Sony and Microsoft are in. Although Sony and Microsoft's systems are much more closed down than a Steam box would be.
It's going to be just like any other PC game where you can go online and get 1,000 different just download copies that are all pirated.
They're going to be fishing for support, and it's going to be a very long road.
I don't know. When they announced the Steam box, I thought it was an incredible idea and it was going to be great. And now this whole how everyone's making their own thing, it's just going to be a huge pain in the ass. Because, I mean, imagine you go out and spend $800 on a brand new Steam machine because the game you want and that's going to come out in a couple months is coming. You're just getting ready for that game comes out. Oh, it's not compatible with your version.
Well, it'll be compatible, but it won't run. It's going to be like
maybe it's designed for the
$1,800
model, so it's going to run like a piece of crap on yours and crash your box every 20
basically
minutes.
It's going to be the Android of the consoles because there isn't going to be
it's really annoying.
It's not going to be optimized for that experience. Generally console games are optimized for that experience, and yeah, even Valve has written off the Steam machines as being kind of a, I can't remember what Gabe actually said, but they're kind of like an annoyance. Like they're just putting it out there to put it out there, to kind of see what happens with it. But it's like, I don't know. They don't have. I just see it being much more of a hassle, especially since there isn't like a dedicated. They don't have. Valve hasn't said this is the baseline. Every Steam box needs to do this going forward. At least the one thing that Microsoft did with their Windows phones is they told hardware manufacturers that every phone had to have this as a baseline. Like you cannot go any lower than this hardware wise. At least they did that. I mean,
and then you can go to software designers and say, this is the bare minimum that you have to work with. Make it work on this and it'll work on everything.
Yes. Whereas Android was just like, here's the software.
Everything has the same baseline. Stuff that's used to work that baseline works on everything.
Yeah. Whereas Android and Google just went, okay, here's the software.
Go.
Put it on whatever you want to put it on.
Now, how is that helping anybody? Why would anybody want this when they can just go buy a computer? That's the quest.
Here's the thing: is that say you have a computer, it's good for the purposes you have. You don't game on it, use it for business, whatever. Clearly not a gaming computer. Now you can go either upgrade your computer for $500-600, or go buy a brand new gaming computer for even more, or you can buy a $800 little cube that you can just plug into your TV and use it for those things.
That is why I like.
In your head, you're going, "That is a great idea."
That's why I like console gaming. That's why
I like console gaming.
Yes, I have a thing designed for playing games. That's what I play games on. Go.
I don't like having having a tower in my family room. And I've tried the whole I'm going to build my own computer. The first thing I do is I go look at a case that I'd want to see in my entertainment center. And I can't find one. I can't find one that looks pleasing enough for me to actually want to build. And if I do, it can't use the components that I want to put in it, which means I have to leave it to Microsoft or Sony to design a box that with the hardware in it, with the cooling, with their engineering teams and stuff like that to, for me to actually, be able to use it. Not to mention they have the install base, they have the loyalty and the way of controlling the system in such a way that, developers want to support those platforms. What's the thing that I've heard time and time again about the PC console argument is that while PC gamers may be out there yelling the loudest, their voices aren't heard as much as console gamers' voices are heard. Mm-hmm. The PC gamer opinion does not matter as much as the console gamer opinion because at least on the console, they're almost guaranteed a sale of a game on a console versus on a PC, their game could be stolen just as easily as it could be purchased.
Don't get it wrong. I mean, I knew plenty of people that used to steal games from PS3. I've never once stolen, pirated a video game like that in my life. But
I wouldn't know how on a.
It's beyond me how they do it.
Sure, if I really wanted to figure it out,
I'm sure I could Google it and find out. But why?
Just like
that's counter. In my mind, it's counterproductive. I like this game, so I want to play it. I want to give them money so they continue to maybe make more of those games.
Just like I could go online and download movies. I just don't believe in doing it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I draw the line. I won't anything that for me. There's a line where it's like if it's free. Like if I can hook a Nintendo to my TV and I can get it, I'll probably just steal it. Granted, that doesn't translate to all the TV that I watch, but I do have a cable package, so I'll just.
I pretty much stick to if I can. I don't download anything. If I can stream it, then I'm good.
Yeah, I've gotten a little more into the streaming side of things. Like
That's
Netflix helps a
usually what
lot
I
and
do.
stuff like that. But yeah, going back to the whole Steambox thing. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. But it's going to be like the Android devices all over again. It's going to be, can you? And then when Valve goes and upgrades their software, it's like, what devices are they going to support? Like that is the problem.
Better hope you don't have the shitty one.
That's the problem that Android has, is that they're
1,000 phones out there,
and not
ranging from $40 to $400.
At least Apple can come out and at least the nice thing about iOS is that when Apple releases a new software, like they just released iOS 7 in September, they can at least go out to their developers and they can say, okay, 75% of the iOS install base is now running iOS 7. 75% of all active iOS devices are running iOS 7. So on March 1st, every app in the App Store has to be compatible with iOS 7. Otherwise, we're not going to allow you in the store. Apple has like safeguards in place to like curate the experience that way, and so does Sony and Microsoft. Whereas Android can't do that. Like
There's too many variables.
There's
like doing that might eliminate a third of your populace.
Yep. It's also why apps don't look as finished as they do on Android devices, because who knows what the screen resolution is of a given Android device, what the system resources are of a given Android device. It's just, it's a mess, man. And I see that translating over to the Steam box. So whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter to me. I still can't afford one or a computer.
Let's just get you a smartphone for reals.
All right. Really quickly, just to kind of wrap this up, we had on the last episode we posted what would you like us to see? What would you like to see us do for our 50th episode? The best one, I think, in my opinion, came from.
I haven't. This is all new to me, so I haven't been on there. So
came from Dragano. He says, "I say in episode 50, Sean and Art make it official and finally tie the knot."
That is great. Oh, Danner, you're so gonna be the woman.
No.
Oh yes. Oh really? You want me to rub your neck for you?
I'm sorry. I'm multitasking right now and watching.
Probably tweeting.
No, actually, the WWE went live with a worldwide announcement at 9:30 tonight.
Oh, that's not overcompensating at all.
They just announced the WWE network.
Interesting. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up so Danner can go watch that, and I can fix my phone that I appear to have bricked.
What? Good job. That's what you get.
So
I run Skype and update at the same time. That's what you get, man.
That's what I get. So if you have any thoughts about the various things that we've talked about here today, you can get in touch with us and comment on our parent site at geekcastradio.com, or you can send emails to us at feedback@geekcastradio.com. If you listen to us on iTunes, please leave us a review, and you can also give us 5 stars, 1 star if you really have to. Although most of our reviews have been fairly positive, all 6 of them.
Hell yeah.
You can find myself, Michael Powers, on Twitter and the PlayStation Network at BoothNinja81. Danner?
You can find me on Twitter at Art Danner or on PlayStation Network at X51 the Machine Man.
Chauncey?
I've been Chauncey Brown. You can find me on Twitter at Chauncey Brown. You can still find me at Xbox. I'm current gen in it. For all of you people that can't afford new systems like these two, unlike these two assholes. Joe, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You can find me
Joe
on
doesn't
Xbox
sound as happy about it as you do.
Well, I'm not looking forward to working the street to make the money to buy one of those.
Please, I don't work the street. They come to me. I run a very elegant calling phone service.
All right, Joe.
You can find me best by going to Facebook and liking the Geek Stuff Garage Sale page. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. Otherwise, you might be able to find me on the PlayStation Network at Wildfire 405. Or wait, am I two V's there?
It's two V's. You're Vivildfire.
The Wildfire.
He's got a
Viviled. Stutter because he's so awesome, ladies and gentlemen.
I have to stutter because they wouldn't let me have my old gamer ID from some other service I had signed up for a long time ago.
At this point,
Right.
you are Vivildfire. You've been Vivildfire more than you've been Wildfire.
While everything else in the world is actually spelled Wildfire. It's PlayStation Network that's weird.
Or
But here, and don't even look for me on Twitter because I forgot how to work it.
That's okay because we've been adding you.
Because you do it on your computer. That doesn't work. Like,
All right.
it's the weirdest thing. I didn't even know you could do that.
That's it for episode 41. We are out.